Hey everybody, this is Dr. David Evans, the president of PIC TV Network, and we are so happy to have Wendy Elaine she is on today, all the way from California. Wendy, she is when you talk about Wendy Elaine Wright, Hollywood talent manager. Wendy, tell the world who is Wendy Elaine Wright. Tell us who she is.
Who is Wendy Elaine Wright? Well, first of all, I'm so glad to be here. I love the PIC Network TV. I mean, you have such a tremendous amount of programming. It's so powerful, positive, uplifting. You are positive, powerful, and uplifting, and I just love being a part of it. And I'm excited for our conversation tonight. I really am. Wow. I have been a talent manager for many years. Before that, I was a talent agent, and before that, I was a singer. So I've been in the business for quite a long time in show business. And one of my commitments in this world is to help other people achieve their success, and to help especially artists achieve success in TV, film, and music. And I do that by working very deeply with aspiring artists to teach them how the business works, to encourage them spiritually and emotionally, mentally, and to give them the specific tools that they need to take in order to start a successful career in show business. And as a manager for many years, I've seen what works and what doesn't, so I'm happy to share my knowledge with people. I love it. I'm really passionate about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. We met in Clubhouse, and I think we was in the $1 Million Room.
Yeah.
And I asked you to come on, and here you are. You didn't let me down, Wendy. So
no, but we met in the $1 Million Clubhouse room for running $1 Million businesses, and that's what we do. And actors are businesses. Every single actor that's starting in this career is a business. They are a sole proprietor, and they're selling a product, which is themselves. So, if they're going to be successful business people, they really need to learn about business and money and promotion, marketing, networking, branding. And those are things a lot of times that actors don't think about, or singers, because they are so busy doing their craft. They're so busy being the artist, but it's show business. So they have to learn both the show and the business. And it's, when I love being inside $1 million business rooms, and I tell actors, go in there, don't just listen in the actor rooms, go into Clubhouse, listen in the business rooms, because you have to learn and get the mindset of a business person if you want to be successful in business.
Yeah,
I know we met there. We met in the $1 Million Room. I was moderating in the $1 Million Room for a while, and it's been going on for 30 days. I think they're trying to be the longest Clubhouse room running consecutively on Clubhouse, and it's really fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. When I see you on, and I love your smile. This is you in California, so you bringing all that California love throughout. I feel it. I feel it all the way from Washington, D.C. We need to bring it in the White House and the Capitol. That's what we need to bring it at.
That's fun.
Yes. So let's get right into it. Wendy,
Yeah.
A lot of people watching, and they don't know you. They first time they're seeing you on the PIC TV network, but your resume is just outstanding. When we think about Hollywood talent manager, author, actor, business coach, 7 books that you got out there. You're breaking into shows in the business world. Talk about this.
Oh, it's exciting, man. I love what I do. I love what I do, and I love helping people succeed. And my parents are both teachers. Both of my parents are college professors, so I grew up in a house of education, and education is the difference between, really, whether the knowledge comes through an institutionalized education, or you're book read, or you're street smart, or you had experience working in your field and you learned it by, doing your trade. Being educated about your business, whatever that is critical. And being informed about your business is critical. And I have always been around people that educate others. I've taught in the GATE programs at, I think, 7 different schools in California. And I'm drawn to people who have a strong idea of what they want to accomplish, but they don't know exactly what to do, or they don't have the belief in themselves and it's getting in the way of what they want to do. And I just know that if they had more direction, more education and information, and also more support, that they could be really successful. And I started my journey helping other people kind of accidentally, because as a talent manager, I had many actors working on television shows like Blackish, Extant, American Horror Story, Henry Danger, The Colony, Modern Family, all kinds of shows. And every year there's aspiring actors, probably 50,000 a year, want to make it in show business. And they submit to agents and managers looking for representation. And so I've had the ability to look at thousands and thousands of submissions over the years. And I started seeing a very common thread amongst all actors. They don't know how to present themselves professionally. They don't know how to write even cover letters. They don't know how to sell themselves, market themselves, network. And so they could be very, very talented, but if their talent is not packaged correctly, people will not even stop to look at the talent. And so we usually, as agents and managers, kind of just delete people that are not really ready. But coming from an educational background and knowing the value of education like I do, I could never just delete something and not tell them why, not tell them what they could do to improve the situation, how they could make it better, how they could have more success if they just did it differently or did these things instead. And I started a YouTube channel called Secrets of a Hollywood Talent Manager, just to create videos to teach people what was coming up in my daily business as a manager. And I would just shoot a video into YouTube and be like, you know, do this, don't do this. If you send out cover letters like this, that's not going to work. You need this, you need that. And pretty soon we had 100,000 subscribers, hundreds and hundreds of videos. Years went by, and I realized that the amount of questions I was being asked, I was unable to keep up with the amount of questions. There's thousands of questions every day. And I decided I needed to create another platform to help actors, to help singers, to help writers, producers, directors. So I created something called Talent Managers for Actors, which is a Facebook group, which we now have about 77,000 members, creative members. And I said, listen, you guys come over to this Facebook group and I will bring in industry people that I really have relationships with, and we'll answer your questions as a collective, because it's way too much on one person at this point. So I brought in 150 agents, managers, casting directors, working actors, writers, producers, attorneys, you know, all kinds of people, coaches, and they volunteer their time and they answer questions for the artists. And that was groundbreaking, because there's absolutely never been, it's kind of like we lifted the wall between artists and reps and the industry, because it was very closed for many years. You had to know someone in order to get in. You had to be connected, or someone in your family had to be in the business. And you couldn't just talk to a manager or agent without gatekeepers. So I removed the gatekeepers completely and allowed artists to talk directly to people that they've never had a chance to talk to before. So that's been very transformative in the business. And now thousands of actors are getting access to information they never would have had. And that's also the beauty of digital technology. We're able to have these kind of advances in information exchange. As time went on, it became very clear to me that giving people information to their questions is not enough. If they're going to be successful in the business, they literally need a plan of action to follow. They need to know where they're starting, and they need to know where they're going, and they need specific steps to make that journey. And historically, in entertainment business, that bridge right there has been filled with a lot of scam artists and plots to try to take money from actors, and misinformation and misguidance, because there was nothing established in that spot that was safe and legitimate and honest. And that spot came into existence, that space came into existence because Hollywood started as a studio system. I'm sure you know that, but Hollywood started as a studio system, and an actor or dancer would sign to a studio for a period of time, 7 years, 7-picture deal or something like that. And the studio would develop the artist, promote the artist, teach them how to walk, talk, sing, dance, market them, set up publicity for them. They managed the actor, pretty much managed the actor. Same with record labels. When they signed an actor, the A&R department would pick their repertoire, would figure out their clothing, would plan their tours, and they would promote them. So the labels did everything for the artist, and the studios did everything for the artist. But over time, those systems changed. And studios no longer signed people for 7-picture deals, and A&R stopped developing acts the way that they used to. So there are thousands and thousands and thousands of actors, artists, singers every year coming into this business saying, well, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I do? And there was nothing there to take over from where the studios left off and say, well, here's what you do. So that actors would just kind of spend years trying to figure it out on their own. And when people don't know what they're doing, somebody's going to come along and promise something that's completely ridiculous. Like, you're going to be on TV tomorrow, or you're going to be, you're going to be a star tomorrow. No, you don't need any classes. No, you don't need any training. Just come here and pay us $10,000 and you're going to be a star. And that's not how show business works. So how it works is, like everything else, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of training. It takes understanding the business and a lot of effort over time. And if you don't know that, you're going to buy into all these false promises of overnight success and I'll make you a star and none of that. Anytime you hear that on the radio or on anything, I'm going to make you a star, run in the other direction. That's not how stars are made.
That's right. Everybody watching you, watching the PIC TV Network Spotlight. And we are so happy to have the talent manager from Hollywood, Wendy Wright. I'm so happy, Wendy, you on, beaming it from California. A lot of people, and I love that smile. That smile takes me back to feeling 20 years young again. Your smile is awesome. Everybody watching, this is big for the PIC TV Network, Wendy, to have you on today, and I'm excited. So let's talk a little bit about, you are being a online community, and you've been on the Wendy Williams show, connecting everybody together, managers, actors, coaching, all of this stuff. I mean, amazing. How did it start? When you was young, did you have this dream? Talk about family a little bit.
Interesting. That's a good question. I did, when I was younger, I had a feeling that in my soul, in my gut spirit, that my job was to help other people become the fullest expression of themselves. That my purpose on the planet was to help people expand who they are and become the fullest expression of their own value and magnificence. And I've always been that person. I've always been the person that knew that about myself, but I didn't know how that would manifest. But I just knew that's who I was in the world. And over time, that's exactly who I became. That's exactly what I do. I take a look at someone and I look at who they are and who they want to be. And then I say, you can do that. Here's where you got to believe in yourself. And you have to get out of your own way, and you have to get past your fears, and you have to get past your negative self-talk, and you need to take action in the right direction and never give up. And that way you'll live the life you came here on this planet to live. That's how you're going to fully evolve. And many people don't want to take that journey, or they're too scared to take that journey, or they're afraid of failure, or they're afraid of success, and they are selling out. They're wasting this opportunity. I feel like their life, which is blessed and incredible. They are wasting the opportunity between birth and death to fully express themselves. And they're getting caught up in the negative thinking that other people have programmed them to believe, in the experiences they've had that have been negative and that have stopped them from becoming who they're meant to be. And lying within them, dormant often, is an incredible gift, talent, something, a spark that they're meant to share with the world. And you have to want to do the work to get out of the way and let that shine. And a lot of people don't do that, or they don't have the support from family and friends to do that. And I've always known that I would be the person to help them do that.
Wow.
I think growing up for me, I'm biracial. My mom is white. My dad is black. I have two completely different families. Like one family reunion looks like all sea of white folks married with a couple blacks. And the other side is a sea of black folks and several different color ranges. You know how we are. And a couple white people thrown in and some other nationalities. But two different cultures, two different racial experiences. And that is the whirlwind of magnificence that I am, right? So I have the fortunate experience of seeing things not black or white, but both. And I think able to see things for what they really are. I'm not skewed by any one particular racial experience or racial mentality from either side. So my mind is pretty open, and it always has been. As a child, I saw tremendous value in being mixed. I loved being mixed. When you step out into the world, then you have racists on one side who don't like black folks, and then you have white, those are the white racists, and then you have some discrimination on the black side. You're too white, you're too light, you're too this, you're too that. Too black, too white. I realize that's everybody else's problem. That's really not mine. And I had to come through, I just kind of acknowledge that, every person is going to deal with some sort of limitational thinking around them, whether it's from family, friends, their environment, whatever. But it's how you respond to that limitational thinking. And for me, I chose to not buy into any of that and continually evolve as the best version of myself, regardless of any negativity that's occurred in my life, in families, in society, environment. That's not my business. That's not my concern. My concern has always been, am I being the highest version of myself? Am I being a better version of me today than I was yesterday? Am I completely giving myself permission to give everything I have and everything I am to this world before I leave? And I believe that people all should experience that, like self-love, honoring their gifts and their calling, creating a supportive environment around themselves that allows them to flourish, and expressing their talents to the fullest, to the max, every single day during the opportunity you have to be alive. That is kind of the driving passion that calls me every day to act, to try to help people take that journey. And I've created some really amazing platforms that really help people do that. So I'm really honored and excited to be able to help people in that profound way.
Yeah, I'm excited. Those who are watching right now, you're watching the PIC TV Network Spotlight. We have 60 channels on the PIC TV Network. In our Spotlight, we interview people all over the world. And I met Elaine in our clubhouse, and I'm telling you, Wendy, you just lit up the room. When we on that particular night on Clubhouse, you decided to put us on the map. You said you're going to take us out there before 70,000 people. When you heard my story being an African American television network, there was nothing but love. When we heard about what we was trying to when we were promoting inspiration, information, and education and entertainment. You in the big industry. Talk about when you see an African American television network doing what we're doing, Wendy. How do you feel?
Excited. I like I said, I believe in things that other people don't think are possible. And I think that, first of all, there should be so many African-American businesses running in this country that there are thousands of stories to be told that have never been told. There is untold gold in the Black community in terms of storylines, education, information, entertainment, all of the things that PIC TV does. Because for so many decades, if not hundreds of years, the Black experience, especially minority experiences, Indian, Asian, Hispanic. All these stories have been kept down and told only through the white male perspective. Yet the human experience, which is magnificent to view, to learn about, to experience, comes in all colors, in all shades. So now that the entertainment industry is changing, they haven't finished changing, but they're changing. They are starting to tell stories, the Hispanic story, the African American stories, the American Indian stories, Asian stories of family, of love, of spirituality, of struggle, of victory, not from a white male perspective, but from this perspective of each culture. Writers have more opportunities now. There are more networks to show more shows of people with different stories than the white experience. And when I see a network come into being like PIC TV, and it's not just the African American story, I know that you guys are committed to telling stories of all kinds of people, white, Black, Hispanic, Asian, but an inclusive story. And that to me is very important. So when I saw that you were doing that, I get so excited because I think of all the people that are looking for that opportunity to tell their stories, to share their cooking shows, or to share their automotive shows, or their history shows, or their entertainment shows, their sports shows, their fashion shows, from so many different perspectives. And that really excites me, that a network is open to allowing all of those stories to come through. That's fantastic. And I am so excited about what you're doing. And so I immediately went over to my group with 77,000 actors and agents, writers, managers, producers, casting directors, and I announced the PIC TV network and what you're doing. And we'll continue to do that. We have a banner in TMFA, and I'm going to put your artwork there so that people can start to get to know you and what you're about. And I think that you are leading, you are really important leader in this business to do that. So thank you.
I'm telling you, Wendy, to have you on the PIC TV network is just huge. This is one of our star highlights. We're only 7 months old, and the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., to have it to California, to have you on the Hollywood, the big Hollywood talent manager is on. You got to tell us some of the stars you met, because we only see TV. Tell them some of the stars you met.
Oh my gosh, that list is so long. I mean, Alfre Woodard, Bruce Willis, Billy Crystal, Louis Gossett, Holly Berry. There's so many stars I've met over the years that I've worked with, that I've had the opportunity to be with. I remember one of my favorite days was meeting Michael Jackson, honestly. I was, before I became an agent or manager, I was an assistant to John Singleton. And we were working on a movie called Higher Learning. And also John was directing the Remember the Time video for Michael Jackson. And I remember being on the Sony lot, and it was a strange phenomenon around Michael Jackson. Like whenever he comes, God bless him, whenever he used to come into a door, come in one way in a building, he always had to leave another way, because the crowd of people that would gather at the entrance wherever he entered would be a swarm of people. Like the news about him being there would travel so fast that he couldn't go out the same door he came in. That was so interesting to me. So I remember I got a phone call from Sony, from the president of Sony, saying, Michael Jackson's on the lot and he's on his way in to see John Singleton. And I was like, okay, we're ready for him. And I went out in the hall, and there he was coming down. And he was kind of taller than all of the small Asian people who own Sony. They were all shorter than he is, and he was standing above them about like 1.5 feet. And he stood in front of me and looked me straight in the eye and said hello. And we had a conversation for a little while, and then I brought him in to see John. And I just remember he was just, it was a beautiful moment, because, I grew up watching him all my life, and as did everybody. And just to be with him in the moment and have a conversation and experience him was really lovely. And then, of course, he had to be ushered out a different room, because by that time, the entire building was down in front of our office to get a glimpse of him. That's the kind of power that artists have in the world. So I think that anybody that supports artists telling their story and expressing themselves is really important. And my disappointment in this country, especially the United States, in terms of cutting funding to artistic programs, cutting funding to music programs, theater programs. You know, as we saw during the coronavirus, and all of us were trapped in our homes for a year, the only thing that really keeps you going is and connecting to humanity is the arts, the music, sports, people expressing themselves, whether it's through sports or music or dance or writing, instruments, singing, movies. Artists are what bind us all together. And in this country, we haven't put the value on artists the way that it should be. I just feel like cutting funding to an art program is just goes against everything beautiful about humanity. Cutting artists programs, music programs, theater, this makes no sense to me. So anybody who's supporting artists is doing the right thing, in my opinion. And I think PIC Network is doing that, supporting artists and giving them platform to express their talent and share their stories. I love that.
That's big, you know, for you to name those stars. I'm just pumped, you know, I'm excited. You know, Billy Crystal. Wow.
Okay, Daryl Hannah, Jackson Brown. Let me think about this now. Dolph Lundgren, Sylvester Stallone, James Woods. I remember Paul Winfield. Do you remember Paul Winfield? That was beautiful. I was on a yacht one time with Paul Winfield at an event. You know, in Hollywood, you go to a lot of events, and I worked in PR. So in public relations, I worked with Michael Jackson. Amazing that I got to work with him years later in a PR firm in a different capacity. But we had Barbra Streisand, Michael Jackson, Neil Diamond, Lionel Richie, Dolly Parton. Yeah, that was pretty incredible. I got to experience the business in terms of PR and publicity. And there was a time I worked in the music industry. We had Meatloaf, Cranberries, the Bee Gees. Lots of really cool artists, and I worked at Virgin Records at one point in the soundtrack department. And that was when Spice Girls came out. And so there was a lot of years I worked for Whoopi Goldberg's manager in her management company, and you know, I've spent many years working to help artists succeed in all types of music, acting, producing. Really involved with artists all the way through every part of the business, from promotion to developing their materials, their package, developing the artist development. So I'm just, my whole life is dedicated to that. I will continue to do that to the day I die. Help other people express their gifts.
Well, I'm telling you, your smile is $1 million smile. I love it. I just love it. I have a son out there, Stephen Evans. He's out there. He lives in Hollywood, California. Now he moved from DC to Hollywood. He's plays the keyboard, and he's a music genius. So he's out there with Post Malone. He's been on the Jimmy Kimmel Show several times, recording for some artists out there. He works on a project for J-Lo, the Star Stringer banner that she did, and some other things. So I got to hook you up with my son, Steven, out there in California.
Steven.
Yes.
That sounds great.
Yeah. This is amazing. I am so happy and excited for you to be on the PIC TV network. You got to promise me, when I come to California, we got to hook up. When all this stuff smooths out, I'm coming out.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I have a ton of great places to take you.
Wow, I cannot wait. This is big. Everybody watching the PIC TV Network Spotlight, and we are spotlighting the biggest spotlight right now from Washington, D.C., all the way to Hollywood, California, where we have the talent manager on tonight, Wendy Wright. Now, we got to talk about the middle name. You said you only met one middle Elaine in your lifetime. And my sister.
And your sister. Your sister's name, the same thing. Never heard of that name other than your sister. I said to you before, I asked my father, like, why did you name me Elaine? Like, where did that come from? I don't know. I said, it's so spelled so differently, Alane. Like, where did that come from? I've never heard that name before. He said, I don't know why we picked that. Well, I'm thinking, well, if you don't know, I'll never know, because you're the only people that would know. So I don't know why that name came in, but I love that name. And I used to go by Wendy Wright only, but there's another Wendy Wright. She runs something called Concerned Citizens for America. And she was using the name Wendy Wright, so I added my middle name back in, and that's what I'm known as now, Wendy Lane Wright. And if you guys are out there and you're watching the PIC TV network, and you have a dream, and you are an artist, and you want to be successful as a singer, writer, dancer, producer, director, you want to create television shows, you want to express your talent, I will tell you what I've learned on my journey in life so far about expressing your talents and your gifts and sharing your story. What I've learned is that it takes persistence. It takes persistence. And when you envision something that does not exist, Disney used to say, if you can see it, you can achieve it. If you can dream it, you can be it. And I always say that if you have a vision and like something comes over you, like, I know what I can do. That's your higher self talking to you, giving you the picture of what's possible. And if it's possible, it can be done, right? And so your job then is to honor that voice inside you that's saying, okay, that's something I can do. How do I do it? And I will tell you, learn everything you can about the thing that you want to do. Read books, read blogs, talk to other people who've done it, do your research, investigate, talk to people who have the experience doing what you want to do. And then put a plan of action into place. You don't have to know all of the steps to get started. You just need to start. And often when you start walking in the direction of your purpose, as Oprah always says, the universe will conspire to support and help you manifest your dream, right? As soon as you start walking in the direction of your purpose, people start to show up with solutions to your questions or your problems, because you'll start and you'll get some things done, and then you'll hit a wall. And you're like, how do I do this? And that's when the next person opens up, and someone pops in from, if somebody knows somebody, and I'm going to introduce you to this person, or you'll be in a store and a book that you need right about the subject that you're struggling with will appear, or somebody will call you and they'll know somebody. You don't have to have the whole journey figured out, but what you do have to do is commit to taking action. It is so important that you learn that everything you want to achieve in this life happens if you take action. If you sit on the sidelines of your own life, you will never achieve what you're trying to. If you get in the game and take action one day at a time in the right direction and allow it to happen, allow the universe to give you the information, to bring you the right people, be open to all of that. And just keep moving forward. Denzel Washington always says, I'm not Denzel Washington and where I achieved, my career by accident. I never quit. I never quit. And I get that any career that you want, any business you want to open, any TV show you want to produce, any book you want to write, you just can't quit. If you keep taking steps, even small steps, every day, you're going to get where you're trying to go. So I would tell you that taking action is critical. You might not always even believe in yourself enough. You take the action anyway. You will have questions, doubts, voices will pop in your head saying, I don't know if you can do that. Take the action anyway. One of the best books I ever read was called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Dr. Susan Jeffers. And that book is about everybody has fear in life. And you're never going to get rid of it because it's there to protect you to some extent. But it can be overblown in your imagination. Like, oh my God, you get so dramatic about these fears. And your job is to walk through them. You feel it, and then you take the action anyway. Where most people get stuck is they feel the fear and they quit. They feel the fear and then they get overwhelmed by the fear. They get overwhelmed by the negative voice in their head. They start to listen to negative people around them, and then they quit. What I've learned in my life is that nothing worth achieving is going to be easy, but everything is possible if you don't quit. So hopefully that will inspire you to keep moving.
That's big. I mean, when I look at you, I look at and I see success. You know, to have you on the PIC TV network, all the way from Hollywood, California, to for us to meet in Clubhouse in the $1 Million Room, and for us to
Yeah.
the network tonight, it's just God's timing. You know, I
Yeah.
believe it ties into destiny. I believe it was meant to be. This moment to see that beautiful smile beaming, lighting up Washington D.C. You like the sun popping out. You know, it's no stars. I mean, I'm just overwhelmed by you meeting big stars, Rocky and the other Sylvester Stallone, all my great stars I watch on TV. Uh,
Yeah.
talk about you said Blackish. You had a part in helping to get that out.
No, I've had clients on the show. I've had clients on the show. I've had clients, you know, when you represent actors, and the whole business is about getting opportunities for actors. When you're an agent, your job is to get them opportunities. When you're a manager, your job is to help them develop their package and understand where they fit in the business and introduce them to people. So over the years, I've represented a lot of people that have gotten started in the business. I've gotten them working and they start booking television shows. And like I was saying earlier, I created so many platforms to give education to actors and to writers, producers, to teach them how the business works. But at some point, I realized that people needed a really specific plan of action. Like, what exactly do I do? Just like no BS. What do I do? Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And so I created something called the Hollywood Winners Circle Academy. And it's an online school. The entire school is online, and they have, you know, they get the course, and then they get a year of coaching by our teachers. And every single Friday for 4 hours, they get to spend in a room talking about the business, about their career, and keeping people on track and keeping people accountable so that they can continue taking action. That's the key, right? So we have thousands and thousands of students taking these courses. They're training with us. And these are all people that are aspiring producers, writers, directors, actors, singers, and they have the vision of what they want to accomplish, but now they need the solid tools and the solid plan to implement. So we give them the plan, we give them the support, the guidance. We bring in agents, managers, and casting directors and working actors to teach. We had just had Keith David. He came into the school and taught. We had Eric Roberts come in and talk. We have a lot of amazing people come in and talk to the people directly, because here's the thing. I believe in getting expert guidance in whatever it is you want to do, expert guidance. And like I said earlier, the hole that was created when A&R started, instead of developing artists and music, they started looking for products that were already developed, right? So they wanted musicians and people that already had albums that were already selling, that already had a proven market, as opposed to taking an artist from scratch and developing them and building the market. A&R started looking for people that are already popping around the world, you know. Same with agencies. Agencies stopped developing like studios used to, and managers and agents are starting to look for people that are already popping. And that's why they search TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and they're looking for people that already have a following. So it's important to have people who have been there and done that come in and talk to you if you're new at anything. It's apprenticeship. Now, everybody had apprenticeships, but when they're blacksmith or you're a bread maker, your automobile, you had an apprenticeship, you learned a trade, and then that's what you did for a living. Well, actors never had an apprenticeship. In fact, there still is no school for casting directors to learn how to be a casting director, talent agents to learn how to be an agent, managers to learn how to be a manager. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. There was no such thing for actors to learn how to be a working actor. They'll teach you how to act. They wouldn't teach you the business. So this school brings in professionals like Keith David, who stars on Greenleaf on the OWN network. And Keith, I want actors to hear from an established actor, how does the business really work? What is the key to your success? How can I be successful in this business? What do I have to do? Listen to someone who's been there and done that. and then take notes and then take action. So what I've known, I've interviewed over 200 actors in the last year and a half, 2 years. And the common theme is persistence and follow through. Persistent, consistent, persistence. Consistently persist. That's how you achieve success in any business. And all of the people that have come in and talked to our students are explaining that same thing. Like, and I'm not telling them what to say, they're sharing their success stories. And if you're in a clubhouse room, in a multi-million-dollar room, and you ask them, that's the same answer you're going to get. People, I don't know if it's generational or what, but people are always looking for the fast, for the easy way out, the easy way to things. And work ethic is not always, sometimes it's not the strong suit of people, but it has to become the strong suit. Because there are always people that will outwork you. I remember, I think Will Smith said something like, you will never find anyone that works harder than him. Well, that's what Kevin Hart says. And that's what The Rock says. That's what Mark Wahlberg says. These are people that are up at 4 a.m. in the morning working out and running their businesses. They are outworking other people, and that's why they're superstars. Superstars outwork everybody. That's why they achieve the level of success that they do, right? If you come into any business and you want like some kind of fast result overnight without doing the work, you're not going to get it, because the work is what creates the success. So a lot of times we're just teaching people that basic mentality that they're not learning in school for some reason. They're not learning at home. And so we make sure that we step in and we make sure they learn that. And then we, of course, teach them a lot of other things. So our school is extremely successful. It is the #1 acting business school in the world. We have actors training in our school from all over the world, and they work on television, episodic television. I think we had an actor, this week we've had actors on FBI, Chicago Fire, Blue Bloods. They come in with absolutely no credits, no experience, no training whatsoever. They've maybe taken a couple acting classes. And after they've trained with us for a year or two, they're working on television. And that's because they're serious and dedicated and persistent. We're excited about the success. It's the #1 recommended school in the world for actors now. And I think we're probably going to have to open up some other classes for how to be a casting director, how to be an agent or manager, because those things are not covered anywhere. It's basically trial and error. Figure it out.
This is big, huge, big. I am so happy. You know, those are watching the PIC TV network. We're spotlighting our special guest tonight, Wendy Wright, all the way from Hollywood, California, a Hollywood talent manager. The big stars, she's been in their presence. She helped them to come on in this class. How can folk get in touch with you? I know we've got people watching all over the world. Wendy, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. Anytime you want to reach out to me, you can go to Instagram, Wendy A. Lane. It's like walking down a lane, Wendy A. Lane 1 at yahoo.com. And you can email me at info@HollywoodWinners with an S in HollywoodWinnersCircle.com. And that's how you can get a hold of me. Inside the Instagram and my link in the bio, you can always reach out to me through there.
Yeah, you know, Wendy, when we met in Clubhouse, that room was just crazy. You know, that Clubhouse room we were in that night, the $1 million business room, and you were moderating, and you let me come up to the stage with the millionaires, and you let me just have my little speech about the PIC TV network. What made you reach out to me and show me so much love? Because I was telling everybody about how we're the African American network. We just got started out, and what we want to showcase our information, you know, our inspiration, our education and entertainment. And I asked the question, should you think I should promote being an African American network? You say, yeah. Why would you stop? You say, yes. Be proud of that.
Definitely. Yeah. Having Black networks is important. Black-owned businesses is important. Black banking is important. Understanding how to help Black folks come along and evolve even further in this country. Listen, the United States is built on a systemic racist society written by white racists, by slave owners. And that is who created the precepts of how the United States is run. And hundreds of years have gone into trying to undo that and stop it from being a system that only supports the white male.
Mm-hmm.
Every single business that is run by a Black, African-American, male, female, doesn't matter, it's important for us to support, because Black-owned businesses we don't hear about that in education, in school. Female-owned businesses, these kind of things, it's not discussed. People go through 12 years of education in the United States and don't learn anything sometimes about some of the critical things they need to understand. So, for example, a lot of banks are white-owned. And this is not against Black or white. See, I'm going to say it because I am both Black and white. I'm not against either one of those. I'm a combination of both. So I can speak about it, and I don't have a bias either way. When you hear people's opinion from the Black community or the white community, you might think there's a bias attached because they only have one experience, but I don't have a bias either way. I love both of those races. The white race has typically been the landowner, has been the bank owner, the television network owner, the record label owner, the white Jewish record label owner. And they had their foot on the neck of minorities in this country for hundreds of years. So that's a fact. And as long as the foot is on the neck of a minority group, you will not see what they're capable of, because you're holding them back from their fullest expression of themselves, not individually only, but collectively as a race, as a people. So the Black American race that was brought over here by slavery came out of their countries where they had a completely different culture, different language, different cultural systems, came into the United States, and they became a product of the slave experience and the European experience. And that's what molded Black Americans. Black Americans are not like Africans. They're not like Caribbeans. Black Americans that have grown up in the United States are a product of slavery, systemic racism, and white oppression and European culture. Now, as we start to allow people to not have to be defined by what white people want Black people to be, and we allow Black people to thrive and soar and achieve, you'll see how the greatness within the Black community, what the kind of contribution Black folks can offer the United States and always have. When we stand out of Black people's way, the gifts that they have and the contributions they make to this country and this society benefit everybody. So having Black-owned networks, Black-owned banks, Black-owned businesses, Asian-owned, Hispanic-owned, anything that's not just white male-owned is progress for the United States. It's not always something that people are talking about. You know, when this whole George Floyd situation occurred, right, Black folks have been knowing about cops not being held accountable for their actions. White males have never been held accountable for those actions since slave days. You know, they've always been able to just take license with Black people as if they're irrelevant and they're not human, act any way they want to against Black folks with no repercussions. So slowly, as we evolve in the United States as a country, and people are getting outraged by the white privilege and realizing, wait a minute, what's happening to Black people? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that was going on. Oh my gosh. Wait, no, we don't agree with that. Watching the amount of different people that came out to protest the police and politics, but the abuse of George Floyd right in broad daylight in front of witnesses with 4 police officers standing right there while they were killing him. The entire world rallied against that. Not just Black folks, but white folks, Asian folks, Hispanic folks, every color. It was beautiful to see. But to change a system that's rooted in oppressing minorities, especially in this country, Black minorities, but all minorities, it takes changing where you put your money. It takes changing where you invest your money, the businesses you invest your money into. And people need to choose to invest in Black businesses. That supports the Black community, because if you guys are watching and Black folks are aware of this, maybe some white folks are definitely aware of this. I mean, some white folks are quite woke. My mother always was. Black success did not start until 50 years ago, 60 years ago. This country was built on the backs of Black folks. White businesses have succeeded for hundreds of years. They were given land. They were encouraged to come over and be given land. They created their own businesses. This country's always supported white businesses. Black people were not allowed to own land. Black people were not allowed to vote. Black people were not allowed to own, were not even allowed to, could not own a company and have white employees. This didn't exist 100 years ago. Things have changed. Things have changed, but they only continue to change if you purposely participate in the change. So choosing to bank at a Black bank, Black people running television networks, Black people deciding what the programming is. Mm-hmm. We're going to make sure that it's not the white perspective only. People need to understand this country is built on every race, every nationality, every story matters. So when someone like you has a Black-owned network, and if you don't jump through the hoops of the white influence, and you stay true to what I know you're true to, which is telling stories of all people, offering content from all races, you can be proud to be Black-owned. And people should support Black-owned businesses, because the generation of wealth that white people have accumulated for hundreds of years, owning land, owning businesses, amassing wealth, has only begun for Black people. And it's time for white folks and everybody else to get awoken to that reality that Black people are catching up in some ways. When I think about Ruby, who 66 years ago was the very Black girl to attend an integrated school. 66 years ago. People are still alive who are 66. So that's just in our lifetime that Black folks were allowed to attend school with white people. We still have a lot of work to do in this country. So I'm excited by what I saw, the young people stepping out and protesting. That's great, but it also has to translate into the pocket. Where are they putting their money? So I would suggest people literally search Black-owned businesses in their state and add those to your Google, your favorite places, and buy from them. Assist the Black community in growing successfully, financially, and creating wealth. That's really, really important to change the environment for Black people. And when Black people thrive, so does everybody else. Because if you haven't noticed, they're some of the most creative, passionate, amazing, and beautiful, resilient people in the world.
That's right. I'm blown away. I'm so happy to hear you express that, from both perspectives. And for us to be an African-American owned television network and to have you on to tell both sides. It's really awesome to see how far we come, and to have you on the PIC TV network, a brand new network, and you pushing us to the top. You see, come on, PIC. I'm riding with you, rolling with you. We're going to do this thing together. And everybody watching right now, this is big. We are from Washington, D.C., beaming it all the way to Hollywood, California. We met in the $1 Million Room in Clubhouse, and Wendy did not let me down. Wendy, you are amazing. You are a gift, and have all the stars that you named to even being a presence from Michael Jackson to Sylvester Stallone to all of the big people that we see on television. You being a Hollywood talent manager is major. Hey everybody, we got to take a break because this network is burning up. We're blowing up right now. Wendy, you gonna stick with us while we're going to our commercial, Wendy? We're going to go into
I love your commercials.
we're going to go to commercial, and we're going to come right back after this, everybody. Hey everybody, we back here with Wendy. Hey, all the way from Hollywood, California. Wendy, I know this has been an awesome presentation to have you on to share so much information about the PIC TV network and to be spotlighted on tonight. It's an amazing blessing. I can't wait to get back on Clubhouse, and we're just gonna blast this around the world. I gotta.
Yes.
This is major. This is major. We got before we close. We got to talk about some of the 7 books that you have out there and how some of the people may want to get some of the books. Come on, Wendy, talk about these books.
If you go to secretsofAhollywoodtalentmanager.com, secretsofAhollywoodtalentmanager.com. I have 7 books that I've written about the business, for singers, for actors. And I wrote a really powerful spiritual book as well many years ago, that I gained a lot of information and inspiration through meditation. And I had some very inspired thinking that came through me that I wrote down, and I published it, years ago. And it's really a powerful book. I still read it, and it feels like I'm reading for the first time every time. It's amazing. It empowers me. I feel stronger when I read it. I feel more grounded, more centered. It literally supports my endeavors and keeping me on the right path mentally and spiritually. And that's my own book. It like really is as powerful as reading someone else's book, which is interesting. I love the books that I've written because they're right to the point. They're filled with information that will guide you and help you achieve whatever it is you're trying to start achieving. And they're really powerful and useful books. So I suggest you go to HollywoodWinnerCircle.com also and look at, if you want to be an actor, you definitely want to enroll in HollywoodWinnerCircle.com. There's no other program that's going to help you or support you in a more powerful way than our school does. And I'm happy to also answer questions. If you see me on Clubhouse, just tell us that you saw us on PIC TV, and we'll be excited to speak with you as well. And you can follow me on Instagram, Wendy A. Lane 1.
Thank you, Wendy. I am so happy, everybody. Wendy, please, you got to promise you're going to come back on the network again. You got to promise me you're going to come back on.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge fan of PIC TV Network, and I am going to continually shout your praises. I think what you've accomplished in growing a new network and the massive success you're having with it, and the tremendous amount of channels and offerings that you have, it's just incredible what you've been able to accomplish. But you know what? It's the right time. And it belongs in the business. It belongs in existence. So that's why I feel the universe is conspiring to make sure that happens for you and for all the other people that it benefits. So I'm just really excited to be a part of PIC TV Network. And thank you so much for having me today. It's been a great pleasure speaking with you, and an honor and a privilege to be here. Thank you.
Wendy, let me see that smile one more time. That smile is...
I'm just grateful to be alive every day, right? So...
I'll see you in Clubhouse, Wendy. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to PIC TV Network Spotlight. We're so happy to have, again, Wendy Elaine Wright, all the way from Hollywood, California. The big Hollywood talent manager has hit the PIC TV Network. Hey, Wendy, you may have some stars to come on to give a shout-out to some of us sometime. Some of the big stars out there.
Sounds fun.
To the PIC TV Network. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Wendy, wave, everybody.